information, éducation et divertissement.
Samedi midi, reprise dimanche 9h. Bossbens Show. La musique est l'art de combiner les sons ou le son d'une manière agréable à l'oreille. Je commence l'émission comme ça pour me dire que musique, c'est art pour combiner son yo pour bien sonner dans les oreilles. Je dis, on a un Bossbens Show musical. Nous allons avec nous Emmanuel. Emmanuel qui c'est un grec qui fait là à Montréal. Qui pourra parler, mais c'est sûr que nous allons parler plus anglais avec lui. Mais on va le traîner, mais c'est même qui est jeune. Et dans l'émission, ça, tout, nous avons l'autre musicien qui sont petits à Haïti, qui fait Haïti. En tout cas, Omega pour le parler avec nous, ce n'est pas juste un musicien, mais son frère. C'est quelqu'un qui will look how will. Monsieur son businessman, mais monsieur fait musique tout. Il va expliquer une histoire, comment il fait tomber. Comme si on dit, oh, Mélix, c'était tombé dans ce soupe là. Nous pourrons le temps de tout bagage ça. Mais je commence l'émission ça pour me dire, ou même qui n'importe quoi tu regarder là tout. Ou qu'à la place monsieur ça, ou qu'à hashtag Bossbens. Le sabon, Bossbens encourage. Mais le pas bon tout. Vous avez pris ma pile pour m'encourager. Je me dis, j'aime faire unité dans la médiocrité. Du nord au sud, de l'est à l'ouest, le Bossbens Show commence maintenant.
Bossbens Show, a Wyclef Jean, yeah, I numéro 1 show. Bossbens Show, a Wyclef Jean, yeah, I. Nous connaissons toujours show, yeah.
Mesdames et messieurs, comment nous y est? Il faut me dire que vous connaissez la plateforme Bossbens Show, son plateforme qui est open, qui est ouverte à tout artiste, surtout ou même qui vivent Montréal, guys, ou c'est haïtien, on comprend ça. Je dis, moi, je avec moi, je ne vais pas quitter le tête lui, mais l'interview, on va le faire en anglais et en français. I have with me Emmanuel. Emmanuel, how are you doing, brother?
Really good, feeling blessed. Can't complain. I appreciate so much you having me here today. How are you doing?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. So, I'm Asian. You know that, right?
Yes.
So,
yes.
We don't do that in English and in French. Oh, you speak Creole?
No, unfortunately. But maybe I should learn.
yeah. I'm gonna teach you. So the thing is, can you tell people who you are?
Of course I can. Well, I go by the name of Emmanuel. You've already introduced me. I love to sing. I love to rap. Actually, I grew up listening to hip hop.
Wow.
My brother was a huge hip hop head growing up. We were born in Montreal, but all my family is Greek. Okay. So our first language was English because my grandparents moved here. They learned English. At the time, learning French wasn't as strict as it is today. So yeah, I learned English, and my brother was a huge hip hop head. So I grew up listening to 50 Cent, Eminem, you know, the early 2000s era of music. That will always have my heart, that era of music. So it had a profound effect on me, but I didn't know that it was a passion for writing. I didn't know I had some sort of inner hidden talent for songwriting. It was something that I discovered later, and when I was in school, we had some writing assignments. It was actually a very particular teacher that noticed my talent for writing, and she praised one of my stories. She read it in front of the class. This was like a groundbreaking moment for me.
Wow.
Because for the first time in my life, I felt like I had something special to offer. And from that moment forward, I was just reading novel after novel, my nose in a book, almost every day, just writing story after story. And then it wasn't until 16 years old where my friend said, yo, we were together one night. They're like, yo, let's try to freestyle. So that was the first day that I wrote my first song.
Wow.
And now,
what's the name of the first song?
Well, I don't really have a name of it because it was just like just stuff that we had scribbled down. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, I lost many recordings over the years, switching phones, losing phones. But yeah, so now we're almost 11 years later, and I haven't stopped writing songs.
I didn't come all this way. I didn't come all this way just to quit and give it up. I didn't come all this way just to quit and give it up. Yes, I invested this time cause it's what I truly love. And yes, I know I could shine, I can truly rise above. So as I travel through this darkness, think I'm searching for the light now. Never knew I was an artist, I think I'm putting up a fight now. So as I travel through this darkness, I'm escaping from these places. Looking back how it started, I just can't recognize these faces. You could sabotage my life, but there's no way I'll self-destruct. I've grown up, gone from wrong to right. Now I'm ready to erupt. You keep projecting a mirage. I can't easily be fooled. Manipulate me all you wish. I can't easily be ruled. I didn't come all this way just to quit and give it up. I didn't come all this way just to quit and give it up. Yes, I invested this time.
We back, de retour après la pause, mesdames et messieurs. On est live, en direct avec Emmanuel. M'espère que vous avez aimé vidéo ça. But do you know the meaning of your name?
The meaning of my name? Of course I do.
What is it?
So it means God with us.
Oh, okay.
And it's Hebrew origin, actually. It's a Hebrew word. Okay. And I'm super blessed to have this name because it's the best reminder in the world that God is with us and always with me. Personally, I am a believer. I'm a Christian, and yeah, it's the most amazing reminder that anybody could have. So I'm blessed to have this name. Actually, I'm not the only Emmanuel in my family.
Really?
I got my grandfather, Emmanuel.
Wow.
Big shout outs to him, and my little cousin, Emmanuel. So we're three right now.
They are here?
They're here in Montreal.
Okay, they're gonna watching your show now.
Probably.
Yeah, because we're on TV, live on TV.
Yeah.
So do you have somebody, I don't know, you wanna, like this, a shout out to, say some shout out to, you know?
Yes, 100%.
Talk to them. What? Look at the camera.
100%. Yo, first and foremost, big shout out to IR Productions. He's running a studio here in Montreal. He's a sound engineer. He's a mixer. One of the best in Montreal, hands down. And he's a huge reason why I am the artist I am today. When he started, around the time he started as a sound engineer, I started rapping and singing, and we kind of got connected when our journeys both began at the same time. So big shout outs to him, and just a few select others in my musical journey that always encouraged me to move forward and never gave up on me. That kept me going and kept the fire burning.
Emmanuel, you know, there is some, I can say, young people who, they have like big dream. They would like to be like you. So if you have advice to give to them, that would be what?
The advice I would certainly give to people that want to follow their dreams today is follow your heart.
Wow.
100%. Follow your heart. Never doubt yourself. We are in a world today where people have become quite judgmental. I've experienced this in my life. And sometimes the pressure of what others might think will stop us from pursuing our dreams, will stop us from believing in ourselves, you know? So that's my best advice I would give. Follow your heart, never sell yourself short, always know your worth, and continue cultivating your craft. Just fine-tune yourself. There's always room for improvement. Have a humble mentality, entering into the domain that you envision yourself doing and what you love. You know, it all begins with a vision. I like to say this all the time. Everything begins with a vision. And until you start putting it into action, until you start networking, talking to people, sharing what you love, that's the moment where things will begin to happen.
So I have to tell you, I like, you know, you're one artist, like I like the jacket, everything.
Appreciate it.
So the thing is, I know you're not like only artist, like a musician, but when I meet you like a businessman, I can say entrepreneur. So why you choose music? Why?
That's a very good question, actually. So, from a young age, when I was in elementary school here in Montreal, I fell in love with reading. You know, we would have weekly trips to the library, and at the beginning, whatever, I had read some books, but it hadn't captured me yet. So I had come across some fictional books, which I love fiction and fantasy, those types of subjects. Even in film and cinema, I also love cinema, but it all began with reading. So I would come across like great adventure stories, you know, about, let's say, knights or medieval times or mythology. Those things interested me. So I would find like crazy series of books, like wild stories, and I just fell in love with them, and I noticed that it was growing in me. I would read book after book after book. And then the one particular teacher that I mentioned, around grade 5, grade 6, we had a writing assignment. And the writing assignment was basically she gave us a scenario, and we had to build off that scenario. Just a few short lines she gave us, so we had to build a story off this scenario that she gave us. I could share it with you. So basically, the scenario was we would be on a plane with the pilot unconscious, and we were allowed to have 5 items with us on the plane. And that was it. We had to build a story from that in grade 5 or grade 6. So I remember it like it was yesterday, man. So I wrote the story. It was the first story I ever written. We all had to handwrite it. I remember I went crazy. I wrote like 12 pages or something. So not thinking anything of it, because I hadn't discovered my talent yet. I didn't know that I had anything special. I just wrote the story. So finally, we handed it in, and it was one morning after class. She called me to her desk, and naturally, I thought I was in trouble because I was a class clown. I was a troublemaker. I was always getting in trouble.
Really?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why we like rap, really.
That's why I rap, you know, rebellious. So yeah, I was always getting in trouble. So I'm like, oh man, here we go again. What did I do this time, you know? So she calls me to her desk, and she's like, Emmanuel, I want to talk about your story. And she looks at me and she's like, how did you write this? She didn't believe that I wrote it. And I was in shock. I didn't know what to say. You know, I was maybe 11, 12 years old, you know, at the end of my elementary. And that was, like I said earlier, a groundbreaking moment for me. It changed the way I perceived myself. You know, that was probably the first moment where I really believed that I had something special, and that would change me forever, up to this day. So from that day forward, I was writing story after story after story. So I would say 4 years later, when I hit 16, I had a group of friends who were also hip-hop heads, and they loved listening to hip-hop. And during those years, I was listening to all kinds of various artists. You know, many artists inspired me along the way. But it wasn't until 16, until a particular friend one night said, yo, let's try to freestyle, where the music started happening. So that was the first night I wrote my first song. I remember I was super excited about it. I locked myself in a room for like 2 hours. I was so like focused on trying to write my first song. And since then, it was a passion that, it was like a snowball effect. It just became bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's really what got me into music. I already loved music. I already loved certain artists, and I always admired the way these artists, you know, cleverly wrote songs, and just the way that they sounded, the way that they put music together. It always fascinated me. So I would say just the love for the music, and also being inspired by great artists, great productions, that was what got me into it.
Quelqu'un qui te regarde, somebody who watching you now, c'était comme un artiste ou un producteur. Are you open like for like pour faire une musique avec? Est-ce que tu es open? Quelqu'un qui te regarde présentement. Are you open for that?
J'ai pas compris exactement. So, quelqu'un qui me regarde maintenant.
Maintenant, ok. Par exemple, moi, je suis un artiste, je chante aussi, je rappe. Ok, là, c'est comme si, est-ce que toi, are you open to do like, you know, on appelle ça collaboration, to do a music with, to do...
Oh, certainement. Oui, sûrement. Des collaborations, aucun problème avec ça.
Mais if somebody wanna get in touch with you? Where to follow you? Instagram? Or?
Yeah, so I'm super active on most social media. I would say Instagram the most, but on all platforms, I go as Emmanuel Official. Very simple. And in my name, Emmanuel, à la fin, c'est un 3L.
Okay.
Au lieu d'un EL à la fin.
Okay, on va le mettre.
Oui.
So, Emmanuel, we see your video. So, I'm going to show you something, and then I want you to do the same thing. You can do, I don't know what you're going to do, but me, I'm going to start. But I'm going to say the thing in Creole. You didn't know that. Really bon Dieu, parce que pas connaître ça qu'arriver, tendez, pour puis devant pas tomber dans tête chargé adorer jusqu'à ce sentir ou voler, tendez, laisse ça va connaître qui est souillé. Sing something. I just rap. It's good, no?
Yeah, I loved it. It was great.
Okay, it's your turn now.
It's my turn.
Yeah, do something. I don't know. You want your song?
Yeah, of course. So this is my song All This Way. It's super meaningful to me. It actually reflects recent events that I went through, just things that I realized about the reality of people, and you know how people sometimes they don't portray who they actually really are inside, and just how I shrugged that off and I kicked away negative energy. And so the inspiration was, I didn't come all this way just to quit. I didn't come all this way for nothing. So let's go. I didn't come all this way just to quit and give it up. I didn't come all this way just to quit and give it up. Yes, I invested this time cause it's what I truly love. And yes, I know I could shine. I could truly rise above. So as I travel through this darkness, think I'm searching for the light now. Never knew I was an artist. I think I'm putting up a fight now. So as I travel through this darkness,
you know, they have to pay for, you know, because I don't want you to continue because they have to pay.
They have to listen to it, exactly.
So the thing is, you said you're writing. You're the one, all your songs?
Yes.
So, wow.
Yes, I write all my songs. I write all my lyrics. I don't create the beats. Maybe someday I will get into that domain. But I find the beats on YouTube from various producers who sell their music. And or they have beats that they post that are free for use as long as you give them credit and shout out.
I think I got 2 beats. There's a guy I have to talk to him, but it's been like 6 years. But some good beats. So the thing is, if somebody say, you know what, me, I don't know or to write so things, but I want you. Can you write for me?
Of course I could write for you. So many people actually have given me the suggestion to write songs for others and sell my songs. Now, I don't know how I feel about this because I take great pride in my writings, and I'm very particular with what I write. I won't ever just write a song that's meaningless or just for the fun of it. I always try to incorporate a powerful message to inspire people, and usually it reflects personal experience, things that I've gone through in my life. So it's very meaningful and personal to me. Even though I'm sharing it with the world and I'm putting it out there, it's still quite personal. So maybe someday I would be open to like writing music and selling it, but maybe they would be separate projects apart from what I've written all these years.
Emmanuel, Dieu est avec nous. God with us.
Certainly.
So
Amen.
Where do you see yourself?
Where do I see myself?
In 5 years.
Where do I see myself in 5 years?
Or where do you want to be in 5 years?
I definitely want to be more developed as an artist, as a writer. Of course, as every other aspiring dreamer and ambitious person, you want to see your dreams come to reality. Fame doesn't matter too much for me. I don't care too much about becoming famous or becoming...
But you will. This is choice.
Hey, whatever's God's plan, you know, I'm just trying to focus on my vision, whatever God has placed inside of me, and I'm trying to develop it for the right reasons. Of course, I do it because I love it, but I also try to make it bigger than myself. So if I could reach a point where I have a lot of exposure, I would love to have a lot of exposure and a lot of people listening to the content, because my main ambition is to inspire and share my love for the music and also my personal experiences in my life, because the reason I like to talk about my life very so often is because I've been through struggles, and these struggles, I feel a lot of people have also gone through similar hardships, and a lot of people today feel like they're alone. You know, maybe their families abandoned them, maybe their friends abandoned them.
Yes.
And I just want to be a voice for those that feel like they're on their own, and to remind them that, hey,
you're not alone.
You're not alone,
Yeah.
exactly. And I just want to be that person for people, if I can.
LA, Los Angeles is the place to be. So I already connect you with Bobby Moore, Sir Jones. So do you want to say hi to them, or because you have to go there? You want to say hi to them?
Yeah, of course. Sir Jones, what's going on? I appreciate you reaching out to me. Bossbens linked us together. You know, we had a brief conversation over the phone. You know, we talked music, we talked business. I'd be super looking forward to collaborating together, and who knows what kind of projects we could create.
So if you want, si t'aimerais te définir en 3 mots, c'est comme if you want express yourself in 3 words, that's going to be what?
3 words, express myself in 3 words.
Who you are in 3 words, like?
Okay, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Got to think about this for a moment.
Yeah.
Who I am in 3 words.
Yeah.
Well, definitely I would say ambitious.
Yes, that's good.
I'm a highly ambitious person. Quite motivated, very motivated, and I would say passionate.
That's good.
Very passionate. So motivated, ambitious, and passionate. And I use those 3 because, especially at this period I am in my life, first of all, I'm self-employed, I'm living on my own. You mentioned, you know, how I'm kind of like a business person, entrepreneur. Yeah. Even though I'm working in other domains, I have 2 self-employed jobs. I became self-employed to be able to follow my dreams, because there's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5. You know, a lot of people are doing that. They're hustling, and I admire people working a 9 to 5. It's not an easy thing to do, you know, working the same schedule every day. I did that in the past, and honestly, it wasn't for me. But I'm grateful to have been able to try different things. But I was introduced to the self-employed way of life early on, and it just kind of consumed me. The idea of being my own boss, of following my own path, and also I had big dreams, right? So I wanted to have time to develop my vision. So that's why I say I'm ambitious, motivated, and passionate, because those are the 3 things that I knew I needed to become in order to develop myself and develop my craft.
Mr. Emmanuel, can you ask yourself a question I didn't ask you? Ask yourself the question and then answer it.
What do you mean exactly? So
I don't know. Ask yourself a question. It's like something maybe you want to talk about. I didn't ask you.
Okay, something you didn't ask me.
Yeah, and then you want to talk about it. Ask yourself the question and then answer.
Okay, let's think for a second. Any question that I would have you ask me? Well, let's say the top 3 artists that inspire me the most.
Let's go.
Okay, I always love talking about, you know, great artists and musicians, not only from back in the day, from the early 2000s era that I love very much, which is the era of music that I would say is my favorite, but also just artists that have inspired me over time and are still kicking it today, you know, that had a great impact on me. So I'd say top 3, Tupac, rest in peace to him, mainly because he was a very ambitious guy. He saw problems in the world and he spoke about them. Wow. You know, Tupac was a guy that spoke out, you know, for injustice happening, especially for his community in particular. You know, he was very passionate about speaking for his community of people that he was surrounded by, and also problems in the current world at that time. So that was something that greatly inspired me. He often spoke about and addressed those issues in his music, and I greatly respected him for that, because, you know, today music has changed. The mainstream sound, and it's not to say that every mainstream artist doesn't talk about, you know, problems in the world and stuff, but you could see that, you know, the industries, there's a little bit of corruption, and not to get all conspiracy on you, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I have acknowledged, and I've done, you know, I've heard some interviews and stuff. I would say that there's some corruption in the industries, and they try to control certain artists and the way that they present themselves. You know, some contracts are more binding than others, and there are particular artists such as Kanye West, who's another big favorite of mine, so I say he's number 2, who also speaks about, you know, the industries and how, you know, they try to change change the direction that you try to go in. But he's someone that, and there's one particular interview which I really highly recommend for people to look at if they like Kanye West, of course. He's at the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne the God, who's the Breakfast Club host, and you know, they're talking about certain things. And that's a super important interview because Kanye talks about, you know, issues in not only in the music industry, but in the industry that he got in. You know, he created the Yeezys, he created, you know, shoes and clothing brand, and he encountered certain issues. With
that's why they make him look like he's crazy.
Exactly. And, you know, the media has become famous for that, making artists look crazy. And you know, it's so easy to twist the truth now with using the power of media and propaganda. They propagate certain ideas and certain, you know, rumors about artists who have great influence, and it's always the people that have the greatest influence. You know, they try to veer away people to not believe them so much because they see that they have, you know, great power to lead people into not following, you know, the media and certain ideas that are propagated that are not necessarily truth. So Kanye is one of those guys who I respect greatly. And
the last one?
And the last one, Eminem, 100%.
But the thing is, why you don't take one of in Canada? You're born in Canada.
Yes, I'm born in Canada.
Yeah, tell me.
But yeah, you know, okay, well, you know, Drake, of course, he's from Toronto, you know, so.
But when I say that, just to, because me, when I look up, I see US, because the thing is, look at Celine Dion, look at Drake.
That's
if you wanna go, that's why I connect you with LA, because the thing is, people are gonna follow you in Canada when you go to LA, when you go to US. But I just say that, you know.
No, you're right, and I can't ignore where I'm from, you know. And one advice that an old friend gave to me a long time ago said, never forget where you came from. So of course I'll represent Montreal till I die. You know, this is where I was born and raised. Even though I come from a Greek family and I have a different cultural background, Montreal is my home. So Drake is one of those big influences for me as well, because he's, you know, a very dynamic artist, and I try to follow this example. So I would say, like, just artists that serve as an example for me in terms of, you know, music and the way that they structure themselves, the approaches that they take. Drake is one of those artists that, you know, he's really diverse. And not only does he rap, he sings, and you could see in, you know, his timeline of albums, you know, his development, and he takes different approaches. You know, he'll have one song where it's kind of like a dance hall kind of vibe, you know, and he has another where it's just pure hip hop, pure, you know, just pure bars, you know, and then another one where he's just singing his heart out and he's expressing, like, you know, feelings about certain subjects. So I try to take this approach, and that's something that I promised myself as an artist, that I would not be afraid to step out of my comfort zone. And this is something that I realized. This is another thing, if you don't mind me talking about.
Let's go.
So I realized something. When you begin your journey of music, at the beginning, you know, it's like a new world that you're exploring. You don't have the experience. Obviously, you've been inspired by other artists that you've been listening to, but you're also figuring it out by yourself. You know, you've never written songs, and let's say you don't see a vocal coach to teach you how to sing properly, or you don't take a class to learn how to songwrite. It's kind of, you have a lot of pressure on your shoulders because you feel like this weight, and you kind of worry, like, am I ever going to figure this out? Am I ever going to get good at this? So these were questions and worries that I had when I first started. So writing song after song, discovering the world of instrumentals, of beats that are now widely available on YouTube and are for sale. And a shout out to all these beat makers that every day they're posting. I'm subscribed to so many beat makers on YouTube over the years, and I'm still following them up to this day. And I've seen their journey. It's like I followed their journey of, like, beat making throughout all these years, you know. And just listening to these different types of sounds, you know, epic sound, let's say dance hall, just hip hop or R&B. Now what you could find, not even just now, but even back in the day, there's what's called type beats. So basically you'll find, let's say, a Drake times Travis Scott type beat, and it'll be in the style of Drake and Travis Scott. And you'll listen to these beats and it'll remind you of like the content that they make. So let's say you love Drake's music. You want to find similar beats like Drake's has. You're going to search Drake type beat and you're going to find thousands and thousands of beats that are in his style, you know? So this is what I realized and what I discovered. So every different type of sound brought out a different voice in me. It brought out a different perspective in me. So I realized that I said, you know what? I'm not going to be afraid to step out of my comfort zone. I'm going to get on these different types of music. And I noticed that every different type of melody brings out a different voice in you, brings out a different perspective, brings out a different approach. So that was the key for me to break out of my shell, and also to begin singing, to begin getting in different types of melodies that at the beginning I was afraid to do, because I was afraid of what people might think. I wasn't really used to singing. I only started rapping at first. I never imagined myself singing. So over time, you start doing things that even surprises yourself. So another advice I would give to artists is don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone.
That's good.
And just get on any type of melody that inspires you.
That's good. So, you know, Bossbens Show is a Haitian TV show, right?
Yeah, you mentioned it to me briefly.
Okay, so what do you know in Creole?
What do I know in Creole? The honest truth, absolutely nothing.
No. So I'm gonna teach you something in live.
Okay, go for it.
Sac passé.
Say it again.
Sac.
Okay.
No, repeat.
Yeah, sac.
Passé.
Passé.
Ça veut dire sac passé. Quand on dit sac passé, c'est comment ça va?
Okay, very cool.
Doing, you know?
Okay, very cool.
See that?
Sac passé.
Sac passé. Yeah, sac
Love
passé.
it. I won't forget that.
And then the thing, when you say sac passé to me, I'm gonna say naboulé. Say sac passé?
Naboulé.
Say that to me?
Sac passé.
Naboulé.
Love that.
Thank you for your time, Emmanuel.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's been a great honor.
Thank you, thank you. Mesdames et messieurs, nous sommes contents pour nous gagner avec nous, Emmanuel, son artiste montréalais, monsieur son grec lié. Il était partagé en pile bagarre avec nous. Et ça m'a dit là, écoutez notre animateur qui a fait bagarre. Arrêtez moi, n'a pas tourné.
Information, éducation et divertissement.
Well, we've got the Bossbens Show. Superman is in the building. Oh, yeah.
Mesdames et messieurs, Bossbens Show, je ne toujours dit, nous-mêmes, c'est modèle jeunesse là. Ça fait environ 9 ans depuis nous au Canada, nous avons fait chose ça. Même chose ça, passé aux États-Unis, la France et en Haïti. Je profite de l'occasion ça pour me saluer les gens qui ont regardé dans tout le pays. Ou même qui sont sur les réseaux sociaux à tout, je me salue. Je suis avec moi, un frère, depuis le monsieur. Moi, la première fois, lire vraiment encore. Donc, je me sens nous connectés. Et monsieur, c'est un artiste qui est Montréal, qui a évolué Montréal tout. Mais c'est haïtien qui fait chanter avec une bonne autre nation, qui a frappé Omega Frem, comment on dit, ou frère, ou en rose. C'est pas tout le gars qui a habillé en rose, comme ça, non?
Je dis à nous habiller en rose. Pour nous venir dans le show, c'est un plaisir pour nous. D'ailleurs, son combat, je m'expecte, ou relève tout d'un coup. Je dis, mon gars, j'ai besoin d'un show, je vais faire nécessaire. Me paraît, mais son honneur pour moi avant aujourd'hui. Je salue tout le monde qui a regardé nous la matin. Et puis, je connais son show que tout le monde branché. Et puis, nous là.
Moi, j'aime ça parce que je décris l'eau. Et puis, pour me dire, je suis artiste. Il y a un artiste qui est juste artiste. Ou même je suis homme d'affaires, entrepreneur. Il y a plusieurs business. Il dit, où est-ce que gens ou venir quand même. Faut me dire, nous ne va même pas 24 heures, non. Ça veut dire son bagage peut-être qui a rien. On a dit 12 heures depuis me 12 ans.
Mais il faut qu'on n'aime pas le choix tout. Boss vient relève. Moi ça. Parce que il y a un qui fait nous pas un cadre public là, nous pas avoir souvent parce que on connaît. Nous sommes gens qui occupent en pile.
Ou occupé, on voyager, nous pas croiser. L'homme en Afrique ou aux États-Unis, les États-Unis, nous pas jamais.
Effectivement, nous fait un pile tentative pour nous peut-être commencer avec un peu l'activité parce que nous sommes que nous connecter longtemps surtout dans l'activité musique, etc. Et puis, Et public là qui a regardé là tout me dit que Bossbens Show est qui très encourageant, monsieur toujours chercher talent jeunesse là pour le pousser. Son bail moi en pile. Ça fait son est quel que soit côté l'invité maintenant depuis me capable m'a pull up.
Merci pour ça frère et très apprécié ça. Normalement sous ta quelqu'un pour peut-être qui pas qu'on connaît, c'est sûr que me va prendre un petit pause avant musique mais qui est exactement depuis quand on peut faire musique?
Bon, c'est Omega MTL, non pas c'est Romel Jean-Baptiste. Et nous commençons avec un projet qui, c'est en 2019. Un projet, ça a attiré les Feel When You. C'était un essai, on a dit, parce que nous n'avons pas de grande expérience dans le monde musical là. C'est juste des fois qu'on a un talent qui est caché dans haut. Et puis, obligé de résigner ou essayer. Et puis, ça passe, ou développer talent. Mais je ne suis pas trop focus sur lui parce que je suis un pile bagage qui a fait un salon de coiffure, je suis coiffeur tout, et puis je suis chef cuisine tout.
On dit qu'on a un restaurant, un salon de coiffure. Ça c'est pas un capteur de Mike bagage. Où on fait musique c'est parce qu'on a très aimé ça.
Oui. Ça veut dire pendant Covid arrivé en 2019, 2020, nous avons une exigence pour nous faire tout business. Ça veut dire que nous avons un restaurant et puis avec barbershop là. Et puis nous venons faire un business là. Mais il y a un élément qui t'a travaillé avec moi dans le salon, monsieur c'est un ingénieur de son. Monsieur dans le studio, monsieur dit, oh mes gars, ça ne va pas le faire là, il fait mes business, il va ça passer. Je dis, monsieur, bon, nous avons le choix. Donc, monsieur dit, comme au grand studio, nous allons passer tout dans le studio pour nous faire ça qu'a fait. Effectivement, nous arrivons dans le studio, le premier bail, nous commençons à faire. Nous commençons à freestyle, bah, elle a tombé bien. Effectivement, il faut me dire, ça veut dire, je ne pas planifié pour ça. You know? Ça a venu comme ça. Et puis,
avec Covid, l'en fait bien quand même.
Développer. Et puis depuis là, nous campons une activité musique là. Bah, elle a bien passé, message a bien passé tout. Nous avons une fanbase qui comprend ça, n'a fait à tout. Tel que, ou même c'est un monde qui, depuis là, commencé à la musique. Non, le premier monde qui va attacher de musique, mais c'était même première vidéo que je fais, c'était Feel When You. So, ça veut dire, c'est comme ça, nous avons suivi jusqu'à présent, nous venons pour l'autre extension qu'on a, au moins de nous plus, musique là, demander plus présence, moins. Mais nous toujours qu'un tout business, restaurant, musique, etc. Parce que moi, musique, sont bagailles qui marchent avec business. On n'est pas capable de faire musique, vous voulez vivre sur musique là seulement parce que...
Surtout dans la communauté haïtienne.
Exactement, parce que le problème qui vient dans la musique, l'on fait musique pour manger ou vient perdre de concentration. Parce que la musique là, elle est supposée son bagage qui sortit d'en haut, mais c'est pour bagage pour pas attendre notre bagage en retour avec elle.
Normalement, et Omega, est-ce qu'on a une vidéo là où tu as introduit qui non, et puis pour nous faire des gardes rapidement et puis nous tourner?
Bon, une vidéo nous fait, bon, nous avons dit que nous featuring avec un artiste congolaise. Peut-être nous devons regarder le tout. Et puis nous avons une vidéo récente.
Comment on dit?
Il est Timon.
Timon?
Yeah.
Eh bien, bon, faire mon regarder. Mesdames et messieurs, nous allons pause là qu'on a avec artiste Omega de Montréal et il faut me dire que, bon, moi, mais ça moi, mesdames et messieurs, je ne suis pas focus sur haïtien seulement. Mais je me suis plus l'autre nation qui focus sur la musique. Je ne suis pas déjà content de parler de lui. On a regardé la vidéo ça. À tourner.
My life at the right time. Let me say that I love you. You are the one I want to be my wife. I swear to God I will marry you. Girl, take you for your love. Take you for your love. This love could drive me crazy, crazy. I'm in love with you, girl.
De retour, mes amis, vous me dire que nous avons découvert. Ouais, imaginez, même si Omega c'est frère, mais ou même l'autre artiste Montréal, ou un talent, ou pas venir dans Bossbens Show. Et ça qui arrive même qui est États-Unis, n'importe quel pays, vous regarder là. Ok, bon, nous avons un Zoom qui existe, nous avons toute qualité de bagage nous apprenons, mais celle bagage Omega se dit, moi, c'est moi, Bossbens, moi, comme si pousser talent, moi, pousser moun qui moun. Sur la musique, c'est l'autre bagage, après, il y a des gens qui les chassis ou qu'on chasse. Ou dit David Montréal la ville là. Mais gars, on tout fait ça foncer là. Qui sont pensés des mesdames qui ont chanté depuis micro en amé ou pas chanter c'est des rap souké.
Parce que je comprends que
la balle faisait ça a déjà fait TikTok avec lui. Souvent peut pas le doit rentrer là-dedans. Mais chassis vin Montréal là. Non festival ba y a fait pour la famille. Chassis d'elle la souké. Il pas rien voir non, on pas parler.
Moi ça me prend non, regarder Montréal effectivement. Moi ça que t'es passé. Même vinn comprendre que gon gens dans business là, bah yo fait différemment parce que vinn ouais deux artistes qui ils n'ont pas le choix déjà.
Mais vous faut dire pas qu'on chanter ou pas.
Parce qu'il faut un bagage qui pour attirer le public là.
Ça c'est celle ça vous gagne derrière oui.
Ça est business derrière.
Business artiste ça c'est business derrière fait.
Business derrière.
Mais la connecte pour Dadou, la gâter dans mon là, Dadou qui parler moun mal pour regarder. Je pense que c'est ça. Jimmy en danger, on tourne vol ça ou pas comme ça.
On va tout dans pas focus sur moi là gagner nèg ba. Ou occupé.
En tout cas frère, normalement qui projet là ou bien il y a fait TikTok avec ça, qui projet ou peut tout.
Non, pas peur.
Ou pas peur non. Mais on est que Jimmy en danger. Ça va gagner. Ou vinn là ouais c'est tout blanc cap bagaille là lui même. Les gars ont 54 blancs campé ouais c'est blanc cap pico pour boy ici ou non studio normal. Les gars dit pas même quelque chose dans télévision. Pas entrer dans bagaille ça, il va faire TikTok avec
moi je me pas dire pas entrer tout pas entrer.
What I believe that. Et bien bon normalement qui projet Omega gain à long et à court terme.
Bon, projet nous gain pour nous c'est focus sur musique là parce que nous gain demande au niveau international tel que nous avons un projet très bientôt en Floride puis en Afrique qui relève nous pour festival nous fait que un festival là qui bien passé c'était Coast Africa. Nous faisons Leader Nuit d'Afrique et plus à développer dans la communauté africaine là, parce que style de musique nous présente nous pas un style fixe. Nous faisons afro-zouk, nous faisons afrobeat à ma piano, nous faisons reggaeton, nous chantons en espagnol tout, nous chantons en anglais.
Wow.
Donc ça vient arriver, nous venons marcher pour tout le monde. Ça veut dire nous pas arrêter coincé parce que nous venons comprendre que le mouvement avec compas, c'est même genre style restaurant, il fait une fusion, nous fusionnons. Jean nous fusionnons.
Je vais pour parler de business. Là, on a parlé de musique.
De musique.
Mais moi, sérieux, manger dans un restaurant, ça, même saisi.
Le goût des îles.
Mes amis?
Ouais, nous faisons pour manger.
Mais il faut faire promotion restaurant dans la télévision et tout.
Ouais. Bon, quand je vous dis, comme c'est de musique qu'on a parlé, mais
on avance.
Nous n'avons pas le choix de faire là. Mais fusion, Jean nous fait fusion, c'est parce que nous venons comprendre que compas des besoins. C'est comme si faut mal chercher un bail là. Exactement, mais faut mal chercher un bail là pour me présenter bail pas.
Ou fin balai
parce que c'est comment dire son connaissance liée. Il faut faire connaissance parce que quand on parle de côté pas arriver loin, c'est parce que il y a un petit genre restreint nous complète nos stocks avec compas.
Non petit coin nous, tu l'autre animateur, regardez les autres font un gros interview en anglais là, pas d'anglais me non, pas
d'anglais.
Anglais bon coup.
Moi je ça me vient qui est important c'est que l'on fait en musique, l'on fait à ma piano, on commence la musique là à ma piano et puis à la fin on finit là.
Ça comme ma piano parce qu'il faut tout dire pour Dadou apprendre bailler sur Jimmy Anderson, ça comme même pas connaître.
Piano c'est un style.
Un style.
Qui sorti dans c'est un style africain. On a dit mais surtout là dans afrobeat là, yo mélange afrobeat là déjà avec un piano, mais dans style afrobeat là, leur font musique afrobeat et pour finir en compas. Ça veut dire aller chercher marché africain et pour présenter marché africain.
C'est comme si vous faites monde comme ça pour afrobeat et vous changez le nom.
Ou gâter jouet là non men.
Et puis on a dit ça bagaille ça.
Et là le pral kon bagaille.
Mais mon chef pour finir là konya, c'est sûr que connaît Bossbens Show et show pas ou quand venir lovely et pour n'importe quel projet devait présenter au grand public là. Konya là si on monde remet suivre sur qui plateforme, sur YouTube, sur Instagram, sur numéro téléphone ou tout et tout pour nous avancer.
Ouais, nous disponible sur toute plateforme yo et Omega MTL. Facebook Omega MTL, Instagram Omega MTL, YouTube Omega MTL, siège social nous c'est Montréal. Ou qu'on a là déjà parce que éventuellement on va parler de
ou faire chez
donc c'est ça veut dire qu'à toujours joindre nous sur nous avons un projet qui a marché très bien sur iTunes et DistroKid. Ça veut dire tout bagaille en place. Non, ça qui passe, seul ça m'a dit Bossbens, c'est que dans bagaille musique là, nous on petit genre pas trop paraître dans la communauté haïtienne là, mais n'a cherché communauté haïtienne là, parce que peut-être gens nous fait musique là, etc. La communauté haïtienne n'a doit pas interpréter, mais il y a un pile de monde qui commence à interpréter tel que vous-même, autant de musique moi déjà, elle est arrivée sur et puis maintenant là pour parler de musique yo. Et d'ailleurs ou son ex depuis là pas bon pas mettre là. Depuis le pas bon pas mettre là. On dit peu après l'oiseau fait sonner, mais espère que la communauté après le temps de musique yo, pour l'apprécier yo, nous gagne belle musique et c'est pas seulement faire monde danser mais gagne bel message là dedans tout, gagne bel exemple là dedans tout. Parce que me comprendre musique là c'est ou même c'est pas ça à faire. Ça veut dire côté nous chita là, il doit son musique n'a fait. Donc m'inviter tout le monde Omega MTL quelque chose sur plateforme où aller pour mettre Omega MTL ou besoin moi. Et puis avec toute information, numéro de téléphone, etc.
Merci frère Bouton.
Bossbens Show, a weekly show, yeah, Bossbens Show, a weekly show, yeah, non connaît non toujours show, yeah.
Merci à chaque monde qui a de bonne chance. Je ne choisis pour me rentrer la caillou pour me présenter l'émission ça. Mais j'espère que l'histoire Emmanuel te motivé. Mais j'espère que Gounia, amis nous, frères nous, Omega, te motive tout. Ou même qui sont artistes, ou sont une idée artistes, l'autre des gens ça écrit sur Instagram, parle avec eux. L'autre remet ta ku moun sa yo, surtout remet ta ku Bossbens, follow Bossbens. Parce que nous soit follow 5 personnes qui sont artistes ou pour 6e. Ou follow 5 personnes qui sont riches ou pour 6e. Mais là follow 5 épaves. Ah bon 6e épave quand même. Merci à ICI Télévision, merci à Télévision One Shopam qui est dans Miami, merci à BCN qui est dans Boston, merci à Live TV qui est dans la France, merci avec Télévision qui est en Haïti, merci à vous-même qui est sur les réseaux sociaux qui suivent nous, merci à ICI Télévision qui est dans Montréal, Canada. Nous sommes Jean-Michel Bossbens, je suis content de pour me rentrer la caillou, pour me présenter monsieur Sayo. Et modèle nous oui, me dis ça déjà. Moun so qu'on apprend de yo, des fois c'est on a critiqué. Allez, bonne semaine. Jésus fort. Monsieur, de retour après la pause, je vais retourner la pause.
Donc on a 1,5 milliard sur 2 ans pour ce qu'on appelle le logement.
Bossbens Show, show numéro 1, Haïti va jamais gagner dans la télévision. Canada, États-Unis, la France, Haïti. Vous regardez Bossbens Show.